Well, here we go. Our racing card continues here at the 2023 National Championship Air Races. This is Unlimited Heat 1C. And there is the top seed right there, Mark Moody, and the Spam Can Mustang.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful P51D model there, Tommy. What a spectacular example of the iconic fighter from World War II. Dominates the class here in the Unlimited class, and we're so excited to see them here in the 1C pairing that we're about to start here in just a minute with this class. Now they'll all taxi out onto the runway, Tommy, and then we'll get the pace plane. Will be out there, and if you remember, they'll depart in kind of reverse order, if you will.
That's right, yeah.
So that's why our pole position aircraft pulls out first. And then right beside there, you see coming into view is Pretty Polly, the P63 King Cobra. Beautiful airplane out of the Planes of Fame Museum in Chino, California. That's our number 2 qualifier at 310. And then next to that in the red spinner there, Tommy, would be a silver and black Man of War. Race 55, Ken Goshall is there. And then next to that with the blue nose, another P51, John Muzala, the second. The airplane is called the Lady Joe, another D model P51 Mustang. And bringing up the end there, silver, red, and yellow, red nose cone, red spinner on the P51, another D model, race 62, Tom Nightingale. So that's our field. Now you see the T-33 jet on the runway there, Tommy, to the left of our 5 racers. There's a close-up of it. That is our pace plane flown by the one and only Steve Hinton Sr. Steve Hinton himself is a 7-time national champion here at Reno, and normally flies a T-33 from the museum that he's associated with, the Planes of Fame Museum in California. But they had a mechanical on that airplane yesterday, and this T-33 belongs to Greg Collier, and Ace Maker Air Shows was gracious enough to loan it to Steve Hinton Sr. and to the Reno Air Races. So Greg Collier and Ace Maker Air Shows, thank you for that. And we have a T-33 pace plane, just like we always do, just comes from a different place.
Well, that's how much they think of the Unlimiteds. They want to give them the exact pace plane that they were expecting for this show.
Well, and Tommy, in this class, these are the bad boys of speed.
Yep.
These are the fast aircraft here, and it takes a jet to be the pace plane for these really fast Unlimited racers. It's going to be quite the excitement, quite the exciting race. And if the folks were watching just as we came on, there was a blue P51 that departed with a race 90 on the side.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll get to talk about that again here in a minute. As these aircraft depart and circle back around behind Peavine Mountain here in just a minute, we may get to see that blue P51.
Our hope is that we'll get to see that vintage plane do a little show for the crowd here while we await the arrival of the 1C Unlimited race.
But just look at the history that's sitting there on the screen, Tommy. You know, the Korean War era T-33 primary jet trainer. The fighter version of that was the P-80 Shooting Star. Just an iconic aircraft in itself, sitting in front of its World War II brethren. They're behind it, P-51s, P-63 King Cobras. Just an amazing chunk of our aviation history on screen right here at the moment, right here at Reno.
The Unlimited's always the marquee event here. All the sound, the fury as they go by, the grandstands is something to behold.
Yeah, we're going to get to see a really up close and personal view of this group when they fly here today. We've got cameras throughout the race course, out in the pylons, out in the desert. We've got cameras up close. We're going to get a spectacular view, and most importantly, or maybe equally as important, we're going to get to listen to this iconic, historic sound of these historic aircraft as they zing by on their various laps as we make our way through. So we get to watch and see here. Now they are going through some of the final checks. You see the canopy coming up on the T-33 there, and apparently they're finishing some final checks. I'm sure it's getting a little warm, so they brought the canopy up, little air in there while they're waiting to go. The air show portion of what's going on here at the Reno National Championship Air Races is finishing up. So I'm sure there's some timing there from the Reno race officials is what's causing our small delay as we wait here.
What's the approximate vintage of that T-33 there?
Well, Korean War era airplane, Tommy, for sure. So it was one of our very earliest jet trainers. Following World War II, we got into the jet age. T-33 was probably the first really, truly successful jet trainer, and it really supplanted the T-6s that we saw race earlier today as a piston-powered planer. As we moved into the jet age, the T-33 was the primary jet trainer. Two pilots sit tandem, one in front of the other. As you can see, the canopy coming down there. The fighter version of this aircraft had a single seat. That was the P-80, the Shooting Star. They also built and flew those in Canada as well. But the version you see here from Ace Maker Air Shows is just an amazing example of a beautiful T-33. And you'll see that begin his takeoff roll here. Runway 8 at Reno Stead Airport. The aircraft begins to accelerate away. You'll note that the wingtips have tip tanks. Additional fuel out there on the wingtips in those tanks, and the inside facing edge is painted green to reduce the reflection for the pilots, while the rest of it's silver and shiny. But here we get to see Mark Moody in the Spam Can, who will be our pole position aircraft here, Tommy.
Qualified at 311 miles an hour. Spam Can with Mark Moody. We've seen it many, many years here, racing at Reno. Patrick Nightingale's the second seed here. Qualifying time of 310 for the P-63C King Cobra.
Yeah, and this is a mid-engine airplane, Tommy. We'll talk more about that here in a minute. We'll go back to the Pretty Polly. But here in front of you is race 55, Ken Gottschall in Man of War, D-model Mustang. Just a beautiful example of a P-51.
Ken from Ventura, California. And out here, and there's John Mushala. He's number 75. That's Lady Joe, P-51.
Out of Idaho Falls, Idaho. Beautiful airplane. Lightning bolt on the side, blue and silver paint scheme, checkerboard on the tail. Watch the gear cycle there, and we cycle back to our last aircraft, Tom Nightingale, race 62 in Bunny.
Seen Bunny many times racing here. All these Unlimiteds have their own sort of culture built around them. They've all got sort of a brand and an identity, and they all have their specific fans. We're fans of all of them, to be sure, and they will be racing very, very soon. We'll be right back. No, what a place, what a part of the country, the Reno Tahoe area here. Lake Tahoe, the mountains, the snow-capped mountains, depending upon the time of year, all the way to the desert floor. The high desert here is an amazing, beautiful place. There's so many great things to do within a few hours or a few minutes drive of this area. The Unlimited class here for 6 decades has always been the main attraction, Rob.
Yeah, Tommy, this is the fastest propeller-driven planes in the world. These are the bad boys of speed, men and women, actually. Here's a great live over-the-shoulder shot from inside the cockpit of one of our racers. Now, we're going to see 8 laps on our 8-mile course. This is our largest course. It's an air start. You can see the aircraft has circled around Peavine Mountain, and like you see on the screen here, they come down the chute, line abreast. They have to stay in their lane all the way to the guide pylon. That is the first place that they can then begin to brake to the inside. Now, while they're coming down the chute, they can advance in front of each other. They just can't come out of their lane.
Have to stay in their lane. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. So it's speeds of up to 475 miles an hour, line abreast down that. It's the class Unlimited, just like the title explains. It's any piston-powered, propeller-driven aircraft. They can put superchargers, blowers, turbos, exotic fuels, anti-detonation water injection, heavily modified, mostly World War II and Korea-era warbirds. And then here's our lineup for this particular heat, Tommy.
Yeah, once again, this is the C. This is the bronze class here of Unlimited. Mark Moody, the top seed, and race number 0, the Spam Can. Race 63, Patrick Nightingale and Pretty Polly. Man of War, race 55, Ken Gottschall. John Musala the second, race 75, and Lady Joe and Bunny we've seen many times here. Flying, race 62, and Tom Nightingale is the pilot.
But Tommy, we talked about our race course. It's our largest Unlimited course. There's 13 pylons in it. And we will see them, like we said, come down, hit that guide pylon, make that turn and it is going to be on. I mean, this is really the first class, the top class, and a lot of fan favorite in this class for what we see here at the National Championship Air Races here in Reno. This year, our 59th running of the National Championship Air Races here at Reno. It's our final flag. And so we're beginning to make our way through the week, and Unlimited is just going to be absolutely exciting. And we're going to get to hear these engines as they come by. The P63 King Cobra, pretty poly that we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Is fans, when you see that come by here in just a little bit, take a look and notice the shape of the aircraft. This is a mid-engine airplane. The engine is actually behind the pilot, where the P51s, all the other aircraft in this heat, the engine is out in front of the pilot. So a little bit different strategy in how the aircraft were built. The P63 has the V12 Allison engine in it, which the P40, other typical World War II aircraft have. But the P51 has that amazing license-built Rolls-Royce Merlin V12 engine in it. License built by the Packard Company in Detroit, Michigan. So all the ones in the United States were American-made engines. So, Tommy, we're going to bring it up close and personal to all of our fans today. We've got cameras, as we mentioned earlier, out in the desert at all the pylons, and we're going to get some great look. Like you see here, that is the guide pylon that you see there. That's up in the foothills to the north of our grandstand area, and that is the place, the first place coming down the chute when they're in their parallel lanes. They have to get to the guide pylon before they can make the turn and be on course.
There's a strong light that emanates from that position as well. It helps them find it as they're coming, you know, from far away into the course to drop and start the racing.
Yeah, no, oftentimes you can see that coming up from the camera view that we'll have on the stands. We'll be able to see that. And here's another great tradition at Reno. A lot of the previous racers and other volunteer groups get driven up and down in front of the crowd in some of the historic vehicles that are here. So
yeah,
what
old fire trucks,
so much tradition here at Reno. It makes it such a special place to be. We are so excited to be part of that. And
if you're sitting in the grandstand, like this view right here, these racers will be coming down to your right there, dropping onto the course there. You can hear them, and there they are.
And there they are. The place plane is pulling away with the smoke, and we have a race, Tommy. They're in the lanes, in the parallel lanes as they head down towards the guide pylon in the pole position. Again, Mark Moody in Spam Can, the silver and yellow P51. He has the inside track, and the other aircraft can maneuver and get forward and back depending on their speed, but they can't turn in front of him until they get to the guide pylon. So there we are, race is on, and you can see that Mark Moody and Spam Can held the lead all the way through that first turn.
Right behind him is Pretty Polly, the aforementioned plane. Patrick Nightingale, that's race 63, the green one.
And then out front there, the Mark Moody and Spam Can with the yellow tail is held the lead from the pole, and he's continuing to stay out front. But it's going to be quite a competitive group here. They all qualified very close together.
Yeah, within
speed.
10 miles an hour, so it should be really, really good racing today.
So
again, we're going for 6 laps, about 46 miles.
And we are in lap number 1. Finish, and there you get to see Spam Can come right into your front living room with our pylon cam, and here we are coming back around the final pylons 7, 8, and 9 as they make their way back towards the home pylon. There's our leader, Mr. Mark Moody in Spam Can, as he comes back by.
So he's just completed lap number 1.
There's a shot of some of the rest of the field. We have 5 total in this heat, Tommy. But those big V12 engines in these airplanes, just spectacular to hear those go by.
They'll take your breath away. You can feel it in your chest when they go by.
Yes, absolutely. Now you see them drop down. The terrain is rising. They got to stay 50 feet is our minimum altitude. So there's a little bit of actual altitude difference as they make their way around. And they get to those pylons. And when we saw the guide pylon earlier, and you see some of the pylons come into camera view as we make our way around the course, on the top of those poles, 50 feet up, is basically an oil barrel-sized barrel that the pylon judge is looking up through. And if they see any part of the airplane come back over that, then that's where they know that somebody's taken a cut. And I believe this is 2nd and 3rd here, Tom.
Yeah, that's right. That's going to be Pretty Polly there, the green one again. In 2nd place, race number 63, and the Man of War in the silver and black there with the checkerboard work on the airplane paint job there. Ken Gottschall, race 55.
So There comes our leader, Tom. Great shot of the pylon and the can on top, and Mark Moody and Spam Can coming right over the top of you. Here you see him coming around pylon number 9 right there as he rolls out on the home stretch headed for the home pylon. Just a spectacular look at the beautiful design and shape there. And here we are back to second and third, and we see where Man of War is beginning to gain a little ground on Pretty Polly here, Tom.
Just a little bit, a little closer than they were on lap number 2. Lap number 1, I should say. As they begin their third lap.
So you see the strategy again with the P51. He's going to have to pass on the outside to get around the P63 King Cobra. So he's trying to trade a little bit of that speed for altitude in the turn. That's a common strategy. Then when they come out of the turn, they'll typically dive back down and try to convert that back into speed to make a run. It's a lot like you see in NASCAR, trying to manage that momentum and that energy. Get going. Unlike NASCAR, there's not really a draft effect here in this kind of racing. Usually you want to stay out of that slipstream. It's a little bit of turbulent.
Kind of the anti-draft
slow you down, yeah. But you want some clean air and you want to get as close as you can. But here you see Man of War as we watch this battle for second, where the P51 is really starting to kind of track down. He's slowly getting a little bit closer and a little bit closer. I just don't know how many laps we have left here, Tommy. Enough time to make it up. It's not a very quick overtake. But now we jump back to our leader, right down on the 50-foot altitude, coming right into the middle right there with our spectacular pylon cam. And there it is, Mark Moody and Spam Can.
Some spectacular sound as they go by those pylons. We promised to lay out for at least one of these and just get the full benefit of it. Yeah. Maybe the next go-round.
Next time they come by that pylon cam on the west side, we'll get to
Remind
hear that.
me.
So the fans up at home, look forward to those beautiful Rolls-Royce Merlin engines in the P51, but here is the Allison-powered P63 King Cobra, the green airplane out front being chased by the P51D Man of War, Ken Gottschall. And Ken continues to slowly creep up here, but he doesn't have but about a lap and a half left to do it, Tommy. Now here we are up in the foothills. Look at that second and third coming right at you.
That was the leader, Moody, right there. Race 0.
Small adjustable opening at the back of
Tom, you see him drop down into the back stretch, if you want to call it that. It's a big, long oval. Now here we are back in the foothills with our second and third.
Good racing by these two here, putting on a show for us.
I think we'll keep an eye on them as they go down and turn into the Valley of Speed as they end up the northernmost part of our course, head back southbound, and they'll be headed down into the final few turns where we'll be able to see them from our pylon cam as they make their way. And there they are, beginning to enter the Valley of Speed. This is the class that named that valley, and this is what it's named for. And here we see two great examples of a great battle for second and third here. That is something, Tommy. Get to hear the difference between that Allison and that Rolls Royce right there.
Absolutely nothing like it. They're going to complete their fourth lap right here. Moody and Spam Can out in front, already in the final lap.
So our leader has been able to pull away, Tommy. He's already back at the guide pylon up in the foothills as he's headed to the northern end of the course there. And that's Mark Moody and Spam Can, a beautiful silver and yellow P51. He has jumped out from the start and held the lead the entire race so far.
Total control as it stands right now.
What was NASA back in those days? It was called.
But Tommy, the battle is here. Here we are up in the foothills at the guide pylon. Second and third. Man of War is really making a race of this. Look at that. We are darn near wingtip to wingtip, shoulder to shoulder, racing here at Reno with the top class in the whole field. Pretty Polly's doing a great job of taking that inside shorter track and staying out.
Very disciplined in that, for sure, and that's sometimes what it takes to keep a pursuer like that at bay.
Yeah, absolutely. So here they are, battle for second and third, dropping into the Valley of Speed as they dive their way southbound past, headed for pylons 6, 7, 8, and 9. You can see Pretty Polly staying low, staying right on the minimum altitude, going to take the shortest course, trying to do everything that they can to stay out in front of Ken Gottschall and Man.
Tight to the pylon right there, as you would expect at this point in the race, with one lap remaining after this one.
We're going to jump back to our leader right here. He's already on the white flag lap. You can see he's made his way up to the guide pylon, headed through the foothills as he heads north, and appears to have it in the bag as he goes. But let's listen as he goes by.
Wow. Outstanding.
I'm going to tell you.
No doubt about it. Mark Moody putting the finishing touches on this one right here is what has been a flawless effort here in this 1C racing bronze class here on day 2 at Reno.
And there we are back to second and third as they head north through the foothills, headed northbound. Pretty Polly continuing to be able to hold off Man o' War. This is going to be the last chance Man o' War has. If he's got anything for Pretty Polly, it's going to have to happen here pretty quick when they finish this turn and head northwest and eventually into the Valley of Speed. You can see Pretty Polly continuing to take that shortest route and being able to hold him off. Here comes our leader, Tommy, coming around the final pylon, headed for what we believe should be the checkered flag at the home pylon.
Wrapping it up right there, checkered flag, and Mark Moody and Spam Can.
Here's our race right here, Tommy. Let's see if we can do it. Man o' War, look at him. He's diving down, trading that speed, that altitude for speed, doing everything he can to try to catch Pretty Polly. Look at this. Wow, this is going to be it. But Pretty Polly's, man, making that turn.
I think, well, it's going to be hard to take that one out.
Ken Gottschall gave it all he had coming down the Valley of Speed, but Pretty Polly just had enough left in the tank. Oh, it's going to be close at the finish.
Couldn't quite catch. Couldn't quite catch there. Hats off to Patrick Nightingale, second place with Pretty Polly.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Gottschall Man o' War. I believe Tom Nightingale, 62, and Bunny was in 4th place, and it looked like John Musala in 5th.
Yeah, they're still finishing up as they come around and make their way back around. But wow, the battle for second and third in this race, Tommy, was really where it was.
Sensational. Well matched. Unlimited planes here in Reno, day 2.
That was our 1C pairing here this afternoon.
Yep.
Really good look on such a perfect day. You can see the amazing Old Glory just slowly blowing in the breeze. And Tommy, let's go back and take a look at this race.
5 planes starting out in this 1C pairing.
And you can see right there, from the start on the pole position, Mark Moody and Spam Can jumped out front, and he was able to hold that the entire time all the way around.
Qualified at 311 miles an hour. That was a speed to be anxious to see what his average speed during this particular race was, but boy, he kept it solid all the way through.
Here was the race within the race. This entire heat, Tommy, was right there with Pretty Polly, the P63 King Cobra, along with the P51D of Man o' War right behind it. And we've talked about that as we went through. This was where it was. Man o' War just kept trying to convert and inch up on Pretty Polly, but Pretty Polly just had enough left in the tank to hold him off throughout the entire race and maintain unofficially second place all the way to the end. And there we come to the finish, Tom.
And the final moments there for Mark Moody and Spam Can. Off there and really tight at the very end. Nightingale prevailing there. Race 63 in second place. There you go. Race 63 and Pretty Polly in second place. Mark Moody, of course, your champion here with Spam Can. Ken Gottschall and Man of War. Tight third place right there. John Musala was actually 4th place in Lady Joe, and Tom Nightingale in Bunny. Finished up in 5th place, and that is something to whet your appetite for unlimited racing in Reno.